Hello everyone out there. Hey Lindsay, this video is really for you, but hello to everyone else that in the drumming community, in the music community, and just all you cool cats out there. Hope everyone's doing well. Had a good Thanksgiving and good holidays with the friends and family. Ate lots of good food and all that good stuff. It's always a good time, right? So this video, Lindsay, is about the roll, right? We're trying to work on our buzz rolls a little bit. Really, it's the double stroke. So the double stroke, I mean, every drummer's, in my opinion, has to have a good double stroke. Double strokes are 100% a technique thing. I used to think that, you know, a double is a double is a double, right? Double treble. You know, 2 notes. Well, a double stroke. That every double is, you know, 2 notes. 1, 2. You know, or using like a power stroke for each note. 1, 2, 2 notes. That's a double stroke. That's not true. You know, there's closed stroke doubles. There's open stroke doubles. You know, so there's a lot of, there's molar. So anyway, there's lots of delineations of different types of doubles. But to make this kind of a little bit simpler for you, hopefully, I'm trying to make it simple and so that you'll understand it. Again, it's out of this book, out of Alfred's book, but this time it's lesson 17. Okay. First thing I'm going to tell you is that we're in 2/4, so we're only counting to 2. If you're counting your eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 16ths, 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a. We're just counting to 2. Okay. Because it's basically working on a rudiment, working on your double stroke rolls is what it's going to lead up to. But it's lesson 17 from this book, and you'll actually be able to memorize this pretty quick. So you might not even need the. I think you just only had the page of lesson 7. You didn't have the actual physical book. So if you don't have the book, you'll be able to memorize this quickly. Okay. So it shows you here at the top of what your different types of roll note values look like. So we know that up here, see, we have a whole note, a half note, a dotted quarter note, and an eighth note. But you're going to see these have 3 slashes, right? This has 2. What do we know about 16th notes? How many beams can connect 16th notes? 2 beams, right? 2 beams connect 16th notes. So if you have 2 slashes through your note value for your roll, you know you're playing a 16th note roll, and then the note value tells you how long you're taking up of playing that type of a note value to roll. Okay, I know it's a weird concept at first to understand, but you'll get it after just a little bit of practice. Okay, so now if we have 3 lines, so we got a whole note, or say we got our half note, so we know that this takes up a whole measure, takes up 2 beats. This gets a beat and a half, 1 beat. And then eighth note, half a beat. Okay, so like a 1 and an and. Okay, so once you get down here, you're gonna see we're in 2/4. First, we got all eighth notes: right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left. Now, the important thing as we get further down the page, I'll show you the page just all in one shot so you can get an idea of what you're going to be working with. Okay, eighth notes. Number 2, you have single stroke eighth notes and then double stroke 16th notes. 1 and 2 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 and 2 and 1 E and a 2 E and a right, left, right, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, left, right, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left. That's number 2. Number 3 are just sustained 16ths. But you do want to practice right hand lead and left hand lead. That's important, okay? So after you've practiced these enough times, and you want to put at least, like, I would say, they say like 20 reps, you know, but then a lot of people, oh, that sounds like a lot. 20 reps is a lot of reps. And yeah, it is a lot of reps, but, you know, the more you do, sorry, I dropped a stick while I was coming up here. The more you do, the quicker you're going to improve on it. And double strokes are 100% a technique thing. 100% a technique thing, okay? As you get to number 3, like I said, they're sustained 16ths. Sustained 16ths, that's hard to say, sorry. So that you've just got continuous right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left. 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and then remember, reverse your sticking. So you're doing it left hand lead. And I'm going to get to the grip part here in just a second for you, okay? Because really what we want to get to is number 4 and number 5. But number 4, that's kind of where the magic happens. Number 4, if you compare number 2 to number 4, they're very similar, except this starts with single stroke 8th notes, where this starts with single stroke 16th notes. So this goes from singles, doubles, singles, doubles. So there's this, singles, doubles, singles, doubles. But now we've got 16th notes and then 32nd notes. Okay? And remember, each one takes up 2 beats, so it's 1 E and 2 E and da 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 1 E and 2 E and 30-second, 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 30-second. Okay? And then this is what it looks like notated. Number 5, that's your sticking for what it will look like in your music for your rolls. Okay, and see how you're landing on that quarter note? So this takes up a measure, but we're in 2/4. So this takes up 2 beats of your roll of a 30-second note. Got a half note. Landing on beat 1 of the next measure. That's what your sticking is here. Okay? So you're doing bop. Okay, so this is a good page because what it's going to lead to, lesson 18 and so forth, those are like 5-stroke roll, 7-stroke roll, 9-stroke. It's more rudiments based, kind of like book 2 is of this. Book 2 is nothing but rudiments based of this, and I would show you out of book 2 for the buzz roll, but this is going to get you started quicker. But you'll just see like you're going to start. This starts to get into rolls quickly with it. Okay. Now, to the grip part. Your pad is your best friend, okay? Don't try to take this to the snare right away, unless that's all you have to practice with. But I highly recommend you use your practice pad to practice your rolls at first, okay? So I'm going to lower the camera a little bit. So, yeah, my head's going to be cut off a little bit, but I don't have a whole lot of time, and I want to make sure I do a thorough job of explaining this to you in addition so that you can have some different experimentation with your grip. Normally I don't try to change people's grip so much, but I know because you have difficulties grasping with your left hand specifically. And I've seen too you use more of an arm movement. I'm not sure if you're limited more in your wrist and finger movement. But you're kind of playing like this, where you're using more of an arm, more of a power stroke kind of movement, because we call these our hinge groups, right? So you got your elbow hinge, you got your shoulder hinge, your wrist, and your fingers. So your hinge groups. So really, with your rolls, it's all wrist and fingers. Like in really, a light touch is all you have to do, and it's really important to understand the difference between a closed stroke, which is what I'm doing now, versus an open stroke. Okay, so let me explain that quickly. So an open stroke, what we say is a wrist and finger motion, wrist, fingers, or a drop, pickup, or push, pull, drop, pickup. Okay, so there's different names for it, that kind of thing. But it's an important thing to understand. Rather than letting the stick with your fulcrum point bounce twice, that's different than doing wrist fingers, wrist fingers, wrist fingers. Okay, that's really important to understand the difference between an open stroke roll and a closed stroke roll. Okay, so, and I know you were saying, I think buzz rolls in particular is kind of what you're trying to focus on and learn. So those are going to be more of a closed stroke roll. But what is going to help is this page, I promise, because if you have strong opens, you're going to have strong closed, and vice versa. Because closed, it's really, you can see how light of a touch I'm using, and it doesn't have to be, and let me move my hat out a little bit here so you can see my left hand better, but I'm not using a whole lot of, force or a lot of hinge from like a power stroke, that kind of thing. And I've noticed that sometimes you have more of a grip like this with your left hand, kind of more of like a hammer grip. I'm not sure if you can experiment. We call these our digits, so that think of the creases or the lines in your fingers. I know that your fingers are your digits, right? But within your finger, your other digits, the creases, the first, second, third. Try experimenting with putting the stick a little bit further down towards the pads of your fingers, okay? And using a lighter touch and an open hand, because you can see I can do it. If you find the fulcrum point, that's what it's all about. It's all about finding the balance point of the stick and playing the back of the stick. So you don't want to be trying to point the front of the stick down and buzz. Like, it's not like that. You want to let the stick naturally do its thing, and you're controlling the amount of bounces and picking it up. Control it. See how loose I'm doing, just like loosey goosey, and trying to show just like how loose you can literally hold the stick and get it to do 2 bounces, but still, there are ways to get around it, okay? It's just going to take some working with and take some learning. What I highly recommend, though, because I think I've seen you use your thumb, maybe you can't grasp, strong like this, but if you use more of a French grip and use your thumb on top of the stick and use a French grip and a fulcrum point, even just 2 fingers, that would help tremendously. So experiment with your angles rather than playing everything like this and playing more with your hand like this. Try experimenting with playing more in a French grip and using. I mean, you can do your right hand if you want. More comfortable playing like those closed as you already do with your right, but you can't with your left. Then compromise. Just be cool with it and just do the best that you can. But if you can use that fulcrum point, and really that's what you're doing, and a good practice for that is kind of just first finger, middle, pinky, and then back up, and do it like 1 finger at a time, and then do them all at the same time, and then just kind of we call it bouncing the ball. We get used to that bouncing the ball motion. You can get a lot out of French grip. You really can. So if you learn how to control the movements, and yeah, it is a lot of finger movement. I'm not sure if you can move the fingers that fast like that, but you can get a lot out of French grip, and a light touch too is good especially for your buzz rolls, because you want to put a little bit more pressure up in the front to get that buzz sound, right? But really, it's all about that timing of you got to have that strong singles, like I told you in the last video, where it's really doing this, but then when you're just doubling your no values, but you have to have that strong single stroke evenness of right left, for your buzz to sound like nice and clean and organized. Okay, so I'm going to play this page for you quickly, just so you can kind of go through it with me and understand, because what we want to get to are the 30-second notes, right? But to get there, you got to be patient, and I know people don't like to hear that, but be patient with yourself, okay? Be patient with yourself, be patient with me. It's a learning experience, and double strokes are 100% a technique thing. So it doesn't happen overnight. Double stroke, it's all about, though, it is about looseness, because, a lot of people try to play them like this, where it's like wrist, 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 and all tight and closed, and like wrist, 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 wrist. Playing the front of the stick is what I call that, like that, where you can get a lot more out of, and a lot quicker out of less effort, and get the stick to come this far back or even further back. So you don't have to raise your hand up this high to do a power stroke. Just raise the stick back this far and come down with a lot of velocity. I mean, you heard just on the pad. I'm not using my arm at all. I'm just using all wrist. Okay, so people that are doing like bashing, with power, there's no need to do that, to be honest with you. But it does take a little training into getting used to using more of your wrist and how to get your velocity and that snap and that wrist motion, that kind of thing. But anyway, back to the roll. So number 1, remember just 8th notes, okay, but 2, 4. So it's 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and anything you do right-handed, we want to reverse it, and we want to do left-hand lead, right? Okay? So it's 1, 2, ready, play. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1, 2 and 1 and repeat, and 1 and 2 and wrist and fingers, wrist and last time, 1 and 2 and. So those would be your eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Okay. So what to practice those opens, that's really important to understand the technique part of it, because it's let the stick do the work for you is basically my point. Okay, Lindsay, and everyone else out there. But you want the stick to do the work for you. You don't want to be try to rely on arm movements and a lot of wrist movements, but not a lot of power stroke movements or other movements of hinge groups or that kind of thing to play your doubles, when you can really just use a light touch. And if you find the balance in fulcrum point and you play the back of the stick, you'll be able to get those reliably out with little effort. That's what we say. We want maximum. What's the saying? Maximum something minimum effort, but maximum volume, or maximum success, minimum effort. I forget the saying. Everyone says it, and then I forget the saying. But you get what I'm saying. Little bit of effort, but you're getting a lot out of a little bit of effort. Okay? So if you practice it that way, try to use your French at first. Okay? I'm just trying to give you ideas. Do that. So remember a difference between open, and try to do that, because you can strengthen that hand over time. It's going to take a little bit, but just work with it and try not to use so much of this motion, but try to use more of this motion. Just rely on your fingers and let the stick do its natural bouncing. See, so it's really you can even just play it with one finger if you find the right. I'm not using any other finger than just a fulcrum point in my thumb. And so if you can't hold the stick, if you can only hold the stick more like this, Lindsay, which I've seen in some videos like that, you can still find a way to get between the palm of your hand and your finger to get a fulcrum point like that. That kind of a thing, okay? So even if you can't, tight or do this, or, and you don't want a tight grip like that anyway, I know a lot of uniform and no space, but a space is better, because a looseness, the shock goes through the stick, not into your hands and your joints. You can play faster, you can play more relaxed. I mean, I always teach better to have an open hand and more relaxed grip rather than a tight and hard grip, because all that shock goes up right through your hands, and over time you get tendonitis, you get injured. I've seen it happen countless times. Anyway, back to the lesson. Okay, so then what we want to get to is now number 2, singles then doubles. 8th notes, then 16th notes in 2/4. So it's 1 and 2 and 1 E and 2 E and right, left, right, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left. Okay, and you want to do it in both ways, opens and doubles, opens and closed. But you want to play it first nice and slow and play them opens. Okay, so 1 and 2 and ready, 1 and 1 and 2 and 1 E and 2 E and 1 and 2 and 1 E and 2 E and 1 and 2 and 1 E and 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1. You get the point. So you just so just, practice them nice and slow, and then just kind of accelerate as you get more comfortable with the motion of it. But, you see a lot of this kind of snaking arms. That's a lot of people in Moeller method, because of what they're doing. It's a way to play. It's a certain method and technique. Anyway, another lesson. But once you get up to that, practice that a lot. That's a good one. Singles, doubles. Singles, doubles. Singles, doubles. Okay, that'll get you a good sense of time of how to get back and forth between playing single strokes and doubles. And remember how important it is to have that evenness of right, left, right, left, right, left, so that your double strokes will sound even when you play your buzzed. Because it's really like just doing singles like this. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and then double it. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and okay, but then I'm playing it 4 beats worth, but you get the point. Okay, so, and that's what we want to get up to is now number 4. But number 2 is going to get you to number 4. So don't forget number 2 of the page. 1 and 2 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 and 2 and 1 E and a 2 E and a. Okay? Then number 3, we're going to skip that one because that's the one that's just sustained 16ths the whole time. 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a, just for all the measures. It's a great exercise, so I'm not saying not to do it. I'm just saying for sake of time, because I've got a student right now, that we're going to skip that one. Number 4, though, that's where the magic happens, okay? So, just for this video, we're going to count. So, nice and slow. You can play your 30 seconds, I promise, but play your 16 slow. 1, 2, ready, play. 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, and then right, left, 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 right, left. Okay, so you can see how then that will turn into your buzz roll. So work with your left hand in some different positions in your angles. So if you have to kind of move your hand out a little bit, but rely on those fingers and play the back of the stick. Okay, don't rely so much on arm movements or that trying to do that or grab the stick hard or like a hammer grip. Either do a light touch and try to get your thumb on top of the stick and use a fulcrum point like this, French grip, or like this. Okay, or if you can't use your thumb like that at all and you have to hold the stick more like this, then try to use a fulcrum point like that. See, like you can just even hold just the back fingers, no thumb or front fingers at all, and or even just one finger. It's hard to see underneath my hands, but I'm basically doing that. Okay, so there are ways to figure it out, but be patient with yourself, okay, and just work with that left hand. But like I said, anything you practice right hand lead, switch it around and then work with that left, and just isolate the left, and don't forget about that stepping up the ladder exercise, okay, where you're doing 2, 2, 2, 2 and isolating, then 3, 4, and these are all closed, where you're doing closed. And it is important to get the kinetic energy into the stick with your first throwdown. That kind of thing, okay? And then same thing with your left. 2, 2, 2, 2, then 3, then 4. Okay, that's a really important thing to do. And just sit there and kind of, work with your angles and see what feels comfortable. And if you can hold like that, you can hold like that. If you can use your thumb, if it's more comfortable to hold with those back 2 fingers, those different kind of things, that's really going to help. But number 4 from lesson 17, that's a really good one. 1 E and a 2 E and a 30 second, 30 second, 30 second, 30 second. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, and I use what's called Weckl grip. I don't even use my front finger. So my fulcrum point's more here, and I showed that on the last video too. But that's why you kind of see my front finger is just dangling there, because I'm really using more of this type of a movement and this type of grip, because it allows you to get the stick further back, and you have more of an open and more relaxed grip with it. I used to point my fingers out like that just when I try to learn the grip, because I used to not engage my back finger, all 3 fingers at the same time. So in order to it forces you to use your back fingers when you take your front finger away. Alright, so there are ways to do it, Lindsay, I promise, okay? And this is getting doing a long video, and I have a student. So I hope that helps, but on the roll, try it on your pad, or on your snare, or on your electric kit on the trigger pad, but just one surface, and get used to not only, playing just closed and letting the stick bounce. And really that's what you're doing. You're just letting the stick bounce, pick it up, let it bounce. You're having to learn how to time that with your motion And that comes from having good single stroke back and forths, right? Back and forth with your single strong, nice and even. Then you can get a nice buzz roll by having that right, left, that kind of motion, okay? But just work with your grip a little bit, try some French, try some angles, and try to use more fingers, you know, wrist and fingers if you can, rather than so much arm movement and holding like this. Try to hold it more like a paintbrush, or like I don't know, you would think like a pencil. Well, not really a pencil, but something more delicate than a hammer. You're not pounding a nail, right? More like you're painting, that kind of a thing. Lighter strokes. Okay? Promise it'll help. Alright, guys. Alright, happy drumming, everyone. Love you guys. Hope everyone's doing well out there. Take care.